in the morning.
Welcome back to our channel. Today is a beautiful day to dive deep into the absolute madness that is currently unfolding in Genoa City. Grab your favorite snack, get comfortable, and let's unpack the intense, emotional roller coaster that just hit our screens. We have so much to discuss, and honestly, we need to vent. I am literally still shaking. I cannot even begin to process what we just watched between Victoria and Nicky Newman. I mean, I have been watching this show for years, and this is without a doubt one of the most gut-wrenching, emotionally devastating scenes they have ever given us. I can't believe they did that. They just ripped our hearts out and stomped all over them. I'm sitting here typing furiously because I need to get this out of my system before I explode. Am I the only one who was sobbing at the screen? Because when Victoria completely lost her mind and started screaming at Nicky, I felt that in the deepest part of my soul. We are so used to seeing Victoria as this cold, calculating, icy CEO who never lets her emotions get the better of her. But tonight she was just a terrified little girl who was about to lose her mother, and it was absolutely agonizing to watch. And let's just jump right into the actual horror of what is happening to Nicky. The symptoms are getting worse, and it is terrifying. The blinding headaches, the blurred vision, the near-fainting spells. But Nicky, in classic Nicky Newman fashion, is doing what she always does, downplaying it. I am sorry, but why does she always do this? Remember when she tried to hide her MS diagnosis years ago? Yeah, didn't work then either. It never works. She is literally stumbling around the ranch, clutching her head like it's about to split open. Her vision is going blurry, and she's just like, oh, it's fine, I just need to lie down. No, Nicky, it is not fine. You are practically collapsing in your own living room. It is so incredibly frustrating as a fan to watch a character you love ignore blatant, flashing red warning signs that her body is shutting down. So Victoria is standing there, watching her mother deteriorate right in front of her eyes, and she is rightfully panicking, because Victoria is not stupid. She knows this isn't just a regular MS flare-up, but then Nicky does the unthinkable. Nicky actually brings up her will. She starts talking about her final wishes and making sure her affairs are in order because she genuinely believes she might not survive this. I mean, I gasped. I literally gasped out loud. You do not just casually bring up your will to your daughter when you are actively refusing to go to the hospital. It was such a morbid, dark moment, and it completely broke Victoria. Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's really break down Victoria's reaction, because we need to talk about the sheer magnitude of her breakdown. When Nicky mentioned the will, Victoria didn't just cry, she screamed. She wailed in this visceral, primal way that honestly gave me chills. It was a raw and filtered scream of pure terror. Stop it, stop talking like that, she yelled, and you could see the absolute panic taking over her entire body. Because think about what Victoria has been through lately. She just found out that Victor Newman, the man she has idolized and sought approval from her entire life, is not her biological father. Her entire identity has been shattered. Her foundation is gone. And now, the only constant she has left, her mother, is standing there telling her how to distribute her jewelry when she's dead. It is too much. It is way too much for one person to handle. I know some people are loving this dark, gritty drama, but personally, it is almost too painful to watch. I hate seeing Nicky so frail, and I hate seeing Victoria so broken. But at the same time, the acting is top tier. I mean, Amelia Heindel deserves all the awards for that breakdown scene. The way her voice cracked, the way she was hyperventilating, it was so real. It felt like we were intruding on a deeply private, horrific family moment. She is desperately clinging to Nicky, begging her to stop talking about dying, and Nicky is just standing there with this resigned, exhausted look on her face. It makes me want to reach through the screen and shake some sense into Nicky myself. And then Victoria does the only thing she can think of. She demands that Nicky see Nate Hastings. Yes, finally, someone is using their brain in Genoa City. Victoria knows that Nicky is stubborn as a mule and won't listen to a random hospital doctor, but she might listen to Nate. Nate has been their trusted family physician for years. He knows Nicky's medical history inside and out. Plus, let's be real, Nate's corporate storyline at Chancellor Winters has been a total snooze fest. Am I the only one who hated corporate Nate? He belongs in a hospital, saving lives, not staring at spreadsheets and arguing with Devon. So the fact that Victoria is pulling Nate back into his medical roots to save her mother is the best writing decision Josh Griffith has made in months. I am so here for Dr. Nate Hastings making a comeback. But of course, Nikki is resisting, because why would anything be easy? Nikki keeps insisting that it's just stress, it's just her a mess, it's just a migraine. She is fighting Victoria tooth and nail on this Nate idea, and it is driving me absolutely insane. Why is she being so stubborn? Okay, back to the point. I know exactly why she's being stubborn. It's because of Victor. It all comes back to Victor Newman. Nikki is furious with him right now. Their marriage is in shambles because Victor has been acting like a ruthless dictator, kidnapping Jack Abbott, using Patty Williams, and basically destroying everything in his path. Nikki doesn't want to show any weakness because she knows that the second Victor finds out she is sick, he is going to swoop in and try to play the hero. Nikki does not want Victor's pity. She doesn't want him rushing to her bedside out of some misplaced sense of obligation or guilt. She wants him to genuinely apologize and change his ways, which we all know Victor is incapable of doing. So instead of getting the life-saving medical treatment she desperately needs, Nikki is choosing to suffer in silence just to keep Victor at arm's length. It is so tragic and so frustrating. I mean, I get it. She is a proud woman, but pride does not cure brain tumors. Nikki, you have to go to the doctor. You cannot let your feud with your husband literally kill you. Because we all know what's coming. The spoilers have been hinting at it. The writing is on the wall. This isn't just an MS flare-up. This is a fast-growing tumor. The blurred vision. The dizzy spells. The blinding pain, it's a tumor. And it's aggressive. And every single second Nikki wastes arguing with Victoria and refusing to see Nate is a second she is losing in her fight for survival. When Victoria was crying and screaming about the will, she was reacting to the very real possibility that her mother is going to die. And honestly, I am terrified she might be right. I don't think they would actually kill off Nikki Newman. She is a soap opera legend, an absolute icon, but they are definitely going to push her to the absolute brink of death. And can we talk about how isolated Victoria feels right now? She is carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders. She can't go to Victor, because Victor is the reason Nikki is stressed out in the first place, and Victoria is still reeling from the paternity bombshell. She can't really go to Nick, because Nick is currently in Las Vegas dealing with his own horrific fentanyl addiction and being tortured by Matt Clark. Seriously, the Newman family is cursed right now. Victoria is entirely alone in dealing with her mother's mortality. That scream, that agonizing, tear-filled scream when Nikki brought up her will. That was the sound of a woman who is completely breaking under the pressure of keeping her family together. I just keep replaying that scene in my head. Nikki, looking so pale and fragile, softly saying that she needs Victoria to make sure her final wishes are respected. And Victoria, her eyes wide with sheer panic, her face turning red as she completely loses her composure. "Don't say that. You're not going anywhere. You have to see Nate," she wailed. It was brilliant television, but it hurt to watch. I know some fans think Victoria is too whiny or too controlling, but you have to have a heart of stone not to feel for her in this moment. She is watching her mother fade away. The blurred vision is getting worse. Nikki is stumbling, catching herself on the furniture, almost passing out. It is a ticking time bomb. So what happens next? Nate has to intervene. He just has to. If Victoria can't drag Nikki to the hospital, she needs to drag Nate to the ranch. I am predicting a full-blown medical intervention. Nate is going to show up, take one look at Nikki's symptoms, and immediately order an MRI. And when those results come back, God, I am dreading it. I am absolutely dreading the moment Victor finds out. Because as much as I am mad at Victor right now, seeing him realize that his beloved Nikki has a lethal tumor, and that he wasted their last healthy weeks together fighting, it's going to be devastating. He is going to be wrecked with guilt. Let's take a minute to really analyze the specific symptoms they are highlighting, because the writers are being very deliberate here. The blurred vision. Do you realize how terrifying it must be for Nikki to just be standing in her beautiful living room, looking at her daughter, and suddenly Victoria's face goes completely out of focus? The sheer panic that must run through Nikki's veins, even as she tries to mask it with a forced smile, and the near-fainting spells. She is literally clutching the edges of the sofa, her knuckles turning white, just trying to stay upright, but she brushes it off. I just stood up too fast, she says. It's just a little fatigue. Fatigue, Nikki. You are the matriarch of the Newman Empire. You do not just casually almost pass out on a Tuesday afternoon unless something is catastrophically wrong. It makes me so mad because we, the audience, know the truth. We know she is a walking tragedy right now, and her denial is only accelerating the inevitable. And comparing this to past storylines just makes it worse. Remember when they tried this kind of medical denial with her MS diagnosis years ago, or when she was hiding her drinking? Nikki has a historical, pathological need to hide her vulnerabilities. She thinks that if she admits she is sick, she loses her power. But this isn't a board meeting at Newman Enterprises. This is her life. I mean, I have been watching since 2015, and this is by far the most frustratingly stubborn Nikki has ever been. She is willing to draft a literal will and testament, dividing up her assets, her jewelry, her legacy, rather than just getting in a car and going to Genoa City Memorial Hospital. It is a level of stubbornness that borders on suicidal, and that is exactly why Victoria had that absolute meltdown. Victoria's scream. I just have to go back to that scream. It wasn't just a daughter scared for her mother. It was the sound of a woman whose entire universe is collapsing. Victoria has always been the strong one, the one who holds the family business together, the one who fights Billy Abbott for dominance, the one who stands toe-to-toe with Victor. But in that moment, she was stripped of all her armor. When Nikki started talking about the will, saying things like, "If I don't make it through this, I need you to promise me you'll take care of the family," Victoria's reaction was pure, unadulterated trauma. She screamed, she sobbed, she physically recoiled as if Nikki had slapped her. It was as if hearing the words made it real. And Victoria refuses to let it be real. She is fighting the reality of her mother's mortality with every ounce of strength she has left. This is exactly why the Nate Hastings element is so crucial. Victoria knows she cannot win this battle alone. She is too emotionally compromised. She is crying too hard to be rational. So she pivots to Nate. And honestly, thank God for Victoria's strategic mind. Even in the midst of a panic attack, she knows Nikki respects Nate. She knows Nate has the bedside manner and the authority to break through Nikki's walls. But it also shows how desperate Victoria is. She is reaching outside the immediate family because the immediate family is completely fractured. Victor is off playing more games, Nick is Mia in Vegas fighting his own demons, and Adam is. Well, Adam is Adam. Victoria is the sole guardian of Nikki's well-being right now, and the pressure is literally making her scream in agony. Let's also talk about the psychological warfare Nikki is internally waging against herself. She is trying to convince herself that she is fine, but those near-fainting spells are undeniable. I mean, the camera work in these scenes is doing a lot of heavy lifting too. The way the screen blurs from Nikki's perspective, putting us right inside her disoriented headspace. We feel her vertigo. We feel that terrifying moment of weightlessness before she catches herself on the edge of the mahogany table. And every time she does, she forces a smile and tells Victoria, "I'm just tired, darling." It's infuriating, but it's also a masterclass in character consistency. Nikki has spent her entire life maintaining an image of flawless perfection. To admit that her brain is failing her, that her body is betraying her in such a terrifying way, means surrendering control. And if there is one thing a Newman hates more than anything else in this world, it is surrendering control. Even if holding onto that control means staring death right in the face. So here we are, fellow fans, watching a slow-motion car crash. Victoria is crying, screaming, and begging. Nikki is stubbornly drafting her will and refusing medical care. Nate Hastings is waiting in the wings, ready to deliver the gut-punch diagnosis of a lifetime. And Victor is completely oblivious to the fact that the love of his life is slipping away while he is busy fighting petty corporate wars. The tragedy of it all is just poetic. I am dreading the next few episodes, but I also cannot look away. I will be right here typing furiously on this forum, crying into my coffee, and waiting for the inevitable explosion when the truth finally comes out. Until then, we just have to brace ourselves for the heartbreak. Hang in there, Y and our fam. Because this bumpy ride is only going to get rougher.